Oh yes, and well, go ahead and trust those wolves in fancy clothes. Let them tell you what you think you need to know. Some say you get what you thank for, others say you get what you need. But if you ain't got shit to stand for, then why the hell do you play? Some people say that you get what you deserve, others say you get what you get. But if it don't break your leg or pick your pocket, why judge a man on how he lives? So go ahead and turn on the morning news. Drink your coffee and eat your everything bagel too. Oh yes, and make sure you let them tell you who to hate today. It's gonna change tomorrow anyway. Some say you get what you thank for, others say you get what you need. But if you ain't got shit to stand for, then why the hell do you bleed? Some people say that you get what you deserve, others say you get what you get. But if it don't break your leg or pick your pocket, why judge a man on how he lives? You can have faith in God, but that don't mean that God damn this. You don't give a damn about one another. And I don't care much for religion, but I know we got to look out for our brothers and sisters. Some say you get what you pay for, and others say you get what you need. But if you ain't got shit to stand for, then why the hell do you bleed? Some people say that you get what you deserve, and others say you get what you get. But if it don't break your leg or pick your pocket, why judge a man on how he lives? So go ahead, turn on the evening news. Let them spoon feed lies to you.
Hey, 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 everybody. Welcome to Booze and News with your hosts, Jonathan Fleissner and Albert Deleon. How's it going, everybody? Hope you guys can hear us okay. Sorry we started a minute late. We had a little bit of some audio troubles, but thankfully, they should be fixed now, I think. Yeah, it looks like we're sounding good. So, how's it going, Albert? How's your day been?
Aw, man, just, went to a little job for a little bit and came home, just been home.
Hell yeah. Well, why don't you tell us about what else you've been up to real quick while I check on some stuff and where people can find your stuff at and what you did this weekend and all that shit.
Guys, go follow me at Albert Deleon Live. Please, for the love of Christ.
And what can they find there?
Memes. I got my own memes that I make. I make a lot of horror themed memes. So if you like horror movies like Chucky and Freddy and Pinhead and all those motherfuckers, I make memes out of those characters, and I make other memes too. It doesn't, I'll just make a meme. But yeah, Albert Deleon Live, and I post some TikToks there, some original stuff. Twitter, same thing. Albert Deleon Live. But I prefer Instagram. I'm trying to build up the Instagram right now. Let's see.
And what'd you do this weekend?
What did I do? I hung out with none other than the Booze and News crew.
That's right.
If y'all go to our Instagram, you can catch some of those clips, some of those reels. We were hanging with Coleman Cox, and Jonathan cooked up some good ass food, some hot dogs. I meant to tell you, man, you went all out, man. You smoked those things, and that shit was good as fuck.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, it was just hot dogs. But, you know, we did it. We did it right. We had chili and cheese and jalapenos and tomatoes and grilled onions and all the shit.
I mean,
you know,
tasted like a hot dog stand. No, it was good. Yeah, we all got to hang out together and drink, and it was fun as fuck. And
we had a bunch of booze, all kinds of fucking booze. Talked about some
man.
Talked about some politics
Coleman.
and shit. Oh yeah, Coleman came through, dude. That was like over $150 of booze he brought, plus the booze that I had. We had fuckload of booze. I mean, Jesus. So, anyway, it took me a minute to get everything shared up. I had to readjust my set today too and I haven't got it perfectly right yet because I got a puppy over the weekend that I found. And he's a little pug, and he was running through the backdrop that I have here, the void, and just knocking all this shit over. I still haven't finished puppy proofing all the shit yet. So he's crazy, dude. He's been climbing my bookshelves. So anyway, So anyway, let's get into it, man. Let's go ahead and get into some of this shit. As you tune in, let us know if you can hear us and see us all right. Hopefully, like I said, I had to move some shit around. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start with our beer review, man. So let's get into it. Show everybody what we got. Tell them what it's called.
It is by Dogfish Head, the brewery Dogfish Head,
which is my favorite brewery, by the way.
There you go. Yeah, I've had Dogfish Head before. I like them.
Out of Delaware.
Mango.
I've been there. It's a fucking sweet ass brewery.
This is mango
smoothie.
Smoothie?
Smoothie.
Smoothie.
Like smoothie, but movie, and it's got like show the people the art. It's got like a little movie reel on it, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, camera, and it's got some fruit. It looks like it's got a mango on here, a vanilla flower. It looks like, and a ginger plant. That looks like ginger.
Yeah.
So let's crack this bad boy open and see what's up. This is gonna be intense. I'm pretty sure. This beer was not cheap either.
The smell alone is really good.
It smells kind of. So, what does it say? It says it's a tart ale with natural flavors. So the very first beer that this guy did. So this guy who started Dogfish Head, really pretty much, is the guy who we can thank for. Let me get this where people can see it. They can't see it. All right, whatever. The guy who started Dogfish Head, pretty much is the guy who we could thank for. Craft brewing. You know, he kind of got this whole shit going in America. Really, really craft brewing. You know, there was a couple other companies that started doing it, but this guy, he did. I think a cherry ale, like a tart ale, was his first beer that he ever made. So, let's give it a smell. It smells good. It smells.
Yeah.
Oh wow, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It doesn't even, man, it tastes like beer. So remember I think it was like 2 weeks ago, we had a shanty, remember? And that shanty was like, it was that Southern Star shanty, and that was like, we looked it up, and shanty is like basically like juice mixed with beer, or like lemonade mixed with beer or whatever, right? This really tastes like juice mixed with beer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this tastes like mango, straight up mango juice and beer. It's great. Now, it doesn't have a ton of head, and that's one of the things that I always bitch about. So that's like my big, if there's any criticism.
shanty thing.
It is. It has to be something to do with the fruit juice, man, and the beer. But I'm okay. So the flavors. I'm gonna kind of read about this beer. What do you taste it with the flavor wise? I mean, I taste the mango for sure.
I'm tasting, like a citry. It's tangy. It's a little bit sour.
Mm-hmm.
It's
sweet though. It's sweet though.
Yeah, it is sweet.
It's a little bit sour, a little bit sweet. It says it's inspired by an Indian drink called lassi. Yeah, they do such crazy shit. It says tangerine, mango, vanilla, rose water, yellow cardamom. Man. Okay.
I want to buy more of these.
It was fairly expensive. It was like fucking $15 for the 6-pack. But
for six, I thought Dogfish Head did like 4-packs.
No, this came in a 6-pack. They do some 4-packs, but this was like $15 for a 6-pack, which I guess is, what is that? That's like $2.50 a beer or some shit like that. I don't know. I can't do math off the top of my head, but it is a brand new beer that just came out this year. It's very hazy. I mean, you can't see through it at all. And 6.5 ABV, that's pretty strong. I mean, a 6-pack of these, they're going to get you. Where are you going to rate this guy?
Oh, man, I really like this. I'm giving it I'll give it a 9.5.
You know what? I'm going to go with you on this fruit smoothie beer. I'm going to go with 9.5. If it had a little, I'm just wanting some fucking more carbonation, I think. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But, dude, it's fucking fantastic. So I'm going to give this 9.5 too, and recommend it to everybody. Especially like before summer ends. This is a fucking great summer beer, dude.
Yeah, I would love to have like just a cool 6-pack of these.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. And it's not too sour, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's been our Booze and News beer review. The Dogfish Head Mango Smoothie. That was great. I want to get some more of those, actually. Let's move on to the news, y'all. Let's see what's going on this week. Man, this dog, dude. I gave him some cheese earlier, and that was a fucking bad idea. Because he has been blowing ass ever since I gave him that cheese. Like, just horrible ass, dude. Like, I thought he shit. And, no, he just keeps farting, dude. So, anyway. But he's cute, though. You're gonna have to meet him. He looks just like the dog from, Men in Black.
Oh, yeah, the little alien dog.
Yeah. He looks just like that dog, Frank. All right. I'll bring him out here in a little bit. Let's get into the news, y'all. Top story of the week. Top story of the week is August 13th came and went. And can you believe it? Joe Biden's still our president. Ain't that fucking crazy? I can't fucking believe it, dude. I thought for sure that crazy crackhead pillow salesman was telling the truth. So, yeah, Trump wasn't reinstated, shockingly, because that isn't a thing. And since then, Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy, has apparently been having kind of a full-blown meltdown. Now he's starting to say, I'm going to pull this article up. Now he's starting to attack other far right-wing media outlets. So let me pull this up here so we can take a look at it. There's a far right-wing media outlet called True News, I think. I'd never really heard of it until I saw this story. But it's this guy on the right here. If you can see his picture next to Mike Lindell. Yeah. Anyway, he has this I guess channel called True News, and they're like very far right wing media personalities. Anyway, Mike Lindell has apparently been going around saying that they're like somehow involved with Antifa and they're like fake news and all this shit. So now that guy, even though the guy on the right there is a huge Trump supporter, he's been spreading fake news about he's been spreading lies about the big lie in the election, and he's also like a rampant homophobe and all that shit apparently. But anyway, he's now I guess gonna try to sue Mike Lindell for defamation. So yeah, they're just turning on each other, dude. Because and now Mike Lindell's saying, well, this is the crazy thing. Now, of course, and you knew exactly, you were even telling me exactly what was going to happen. That this was going to come and go, and they were just going to kick the fucking can down the road and say, well, it's going to be, okay, it's not going to, we thought it was going to be August 13th. Now it's going to be September 1st. That's what I'm hearing now from Mike Lindell.
Wow.
They're just fucking crazy, dude. And what's really sad is I feel really bad for that dude's family. Because, you know, he's a crazy person, and all the money that they had, he's blowing it on this shit. Millions and millions of dollars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he's got wife and kids and family and all that shit. So.
Yeah, I mean, they probably live in a fucking, like, red state, small town bullshit, but, I mean, I'm sure that I'm sure some people have found who his family members are and are giving him shit.
Dude, I don't know. I don't feel bad. I don't really feel bad for him. He's deranged. He's been lied to. He's been conned. I mean, what I really hate is that he's also helping to lie and con other people, right? He's getting regular average people out there to send their fucking money in for all this bullshit. But,
Do you think Trump is like, for a guy like that, do you think he's getting paid by Trump?
Mm-mm. Trump, if anything, is taking that dude's money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that guy's getting fucked over. And, so, anyway, we got some comments coming in. Clark wants to donate to your haircut fund. Yeah, Clark, if you want to donate to both of our haircut funds, there's the PayPal link in the fucking corner. Just send it there. We can get a haircut. Let's see. We have a new, I don't know who recognizes this person. Wimbley Diddly Doo. That's a great, first of all, that's a great screen name. Whoever the fuck came up with that. That's a great one. Wimbley Diddly Doo. And he said, good, that way when they are poor, they can hang out with real Republicans. There you go. That's the truth. Yep. Unfortunately, all of the really poor Republicans don't want to admit that they're poor. They all want to think that one day they're just going to fucking pull their bootstraps up and be Jeff Bezos. You know?
I think all the poor Republicans are just...
Oh, hey, Via.
I don't even think it's about being rich for them. I think they don't want to see immigrants around it. They're just racist. That's all I think poor Republicans care about is
it's not just the poor Republicans. It's the rich ones give a shit about that too. And we're going to get into that here in just a moment actually. But I guess before we I guess we can start there. It doesn't really matter since we're already there. Yeah, let's just go ahead and start with that. We're going to go ahead and go into global news, which is going to be all pretty much about Afghanistan today. And I don't know if you've been seeing any of the news about it. I mean, it's obviously incredibly tragic that, you know, there's a pretty large population of Afghanistan. I don't know what it is. That city, Kabul or whatever, where they have the airport, apparently has 6 million people living in it. So that's a really large city. And the videos coming out are just terrible with all of the people that were, you know, trying to get on the airplanes and falling off of them and getting stuck in them and all that shit. That's awful. And I saw another video today, of some woman who got shot, I guess, for not wearing her hijab. I mean, it's terrible, right?
Yeah.
But if you watch right-wing media, I don't know if you've watched any of it, like Fox News in the last couple of days, but they're already starting to bitch about any of those refugees coming over here Like Tucker Carlson had a whole fucking monologue about, hey, don't let them come over here, because next thing you know, there's going to be a million fucking Afghans living over here. See, so it always gets back to that shit about how they don't want anybody coming over here who isn't white, who isn't like, you know what I mean?
That's all they fucking care about.
That's all they fucking care about.
I mean, they're just gonna have people that live in America are just gonna understand like this. That's just never. It's never gonna be the way they want it. Like people are gonna come to America, and that's just the way it's gonna be.
Well, and the ultimate irony is that the entire country is immigrants. You know what I mean? Every single motherfucker here who's an American came here from somewhere else, right?
Right.
Now, if you're an indigenous person, right?
You're actually
from here, but but they were here before Americans, so I don't even know if I would be like, oh, I'm American. You know what I mean? I'm fucking native. I'm indigenous, right? So, but it's just crazy. I mean, the right wing is such a fucking clusterfuck party. They've in one segment I was watching, right? It was like Laura Ingraham, I think. They were condemning Biden for ending the war, right? But also praising Trump for trying to pull the troops out, right? So they're condemning Biden for pulling the troops out, praising Trump for starting pulling the troops out, and then being like, it's terrible what's going on over there, but for fuck's sake, don't let any of those brown people come over here.
Yeah. And I agree with you when you say clusterfuck, because they're so scatterbrained with what they like, what they don't like, what they're okay with, what they're not okay with. And they're just a bunch of fucking whiny babies. And it's funny because I told Mr. Clark one day, I said, Republicans whine the most. They talk about people being snowflakes, and people like me complain about, minimum wage or being, wanting to share a household with other people so I can avoid rent. It's like, yeah, I got great reasons for that. It's not because if I could live in my own fucking place, of course I would do it. But it's not set up that way.
Well, and it's not for me. And everybody is living in this denial of really what's going on. That's one of the things that I we are talking about this a lot on the show. But if you just look at data, right? 51% of millennials are living at home with their parents. Last time I checked. Right? And this number did shoot up during the pandemic, but it was already really high. That's higher than the Great Depression. I mean, we've talked about that before. So, I mean, you got to think about that. That's fucking shows you that the economy is in the dumps. You know what I mean? And we know it's true. Minimum wage is shit. Housing prices are too much. But everybody wants to go, oh, well, why don't you just go into debt? I mean, fuck it, Albert. Go get a fucking job that you're going to blow your body out in the next 10 years and do like I did. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, no. Yeah. Why is that the only fucking way? You want me to go work in the fucking coal mines? Like, they were bitching about you not having a job. You got a job. Now your job's not good enough. Well, when are you going to move out? Well, I'm working on moving out. Oh, well, that's not fast enough.
That's just like my dad. That's just like my dad. I love my dad. And I know, me and you, we have, problems with our family. It's like, we love them, but they're fucking idiots. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Well, they're so, and a lot of them just like they're living in a they're not living in reality. That's what, and that's right. That's really what. Let's get back to Afghanistan. That's really what this boils down to. They are fighting against reality, right? Because people can go, look. We can look at the images. 1 second, he's eating some bullshit that he can't be eating. Hey, don't eat that shit. Eat this. Eat this.
What was she eating?
A fucking magnet. And I probably need to move it higher, but anyway. He's a baby. He's a puppy. So I got him all these stuffed animals, and he's tearing them to shit, but at least that's better than my shit. So, anyway, if y'all want to see him, I'll show you real quick, but I do want to get into Afghanistan. But, hey, what's better? This is a way to, make Afghanistan not so bad as you show a cute little puppy. You show a cute little puppy. You show a cute little puppy, and then you talk about Sharia law. No. So, but the people, like I said, people are just not living in reality, and they go, well, Biden, you know, it's all because he pulled the troops out too fast or whatever. But, like, Trump was going to pull the troops out in May.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't matter, honestly, if they stayed there for another 5 months, Albert. Like, it took like 11 days for the Taliban to take over the country or some shit. Right? It wasn't going to matter. They were going to... That country was not set up to sustain itself. You know what I mean? The president, fucking all of them, they all took off. They weren't gonna do it. And it is terrible for all those people who are stuck over there, especially the women and children. You know what I mean? Because... they're saying now they're going back into like a very repressive environment where I don't know if they're allowed to go to school or if they have to, you know, do they're slaves basically to the men, you know.
Something's gonna have to happen over there.
Well, I mean, that area's been really fucked up, dude. I mean, if you don't know anything about like, I mean, it's all been a proxy war. We've talked about that on the show for a long time. This is all. That area has been caught between, Saudi Arabia and Iran, but those people are being puppeted by the United States and Russia, and so they're just pawns. And when people are now like going, well, think about the people over there. Where were the people worried about when we were talking about the genocide going on in Yemen, right? Or the women and children that were dying in Syria. Where were all the fucking... Where was CNN and Fox News and all that shit covering that? They didn't cover that.
Yeah.
You know? They don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? For them, they're pulling at people's heartstrings for ratings, and it's really sick. And I just don't think, you know... the fact that it fell in 11 days just shows that it wouldn't have mattered. We could have stayed there for another year, dude. It wouldn't have fucking mattered.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, man. And I don't blame anyone from being from any part of the world living in hell trying to come here. I don't blame them at all, man.
Yeah.
Just trying to live.
Yeah, and I don't blame them. They're going to try to get the fuck out of there is what's going to happen. And then people are going to freak out about mass immigration because everybody wants to blame their problems on immigrants, and it's completely ridiculous.
By the way, I saw something on someone shared something on Instagram. There's apparently some link where people can donate airfare to get people from Afghanistan over here.
You got to be careful with a lot of that shit. I would say if it's true, I'd like to check it out and see. That could be a very great thing. But in a lot of times when you have shit like this, Albert, like a big crisis or a hurricane or any kind of humanitarian crisis, hey, come on over here. Do not break that lamp. Come here. Come here. You get grifters. And so, like, during the hurricanes, you know what I mean? People set up, like, hurricane relief funds. They just steal all that money from people.
It was just fake, yeah.
Yeah, so you got to be careful with that shit. Here's the issue why I'm skeptical about that right off the bat. You hear him growling. His fucking asthmatic ass nose. From what I've seen, there's only one airport in control by the U.S. government still, and it's that one in Kabul. So there's really no way to, like, get private airplanes over there, any of that. That's why I'm very skeptical of that. It's going to be U.S. military airplanes that are going to get everybody out, and you're not going to be able to crowdfund that or GoFundMe. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and it's really shitty that people are going to make money off of these people suffering, but they will. You know they will.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I don't know much more what to say about that. Have you been seeing the videos about all the fucking guns and shit they've been retrieving?
I mean, I've seen a bunch of clips. I don't think I've seen that specific clip, but I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
Dude, I don't even know where he gets this shit. He just got a fucking candy bar. So, this is the puppy episode, you know? I've got to puppy-proof everything. Yeah, dude, they've got huge stockpiles of weapons that they've been getting. I mean, so basically we spent, like, over $2 trillion on this war, you know? And we just, you know, and I don't want to be selfish, but really we could have used that money for healthcare here and shit, you know what I mean? Housing here, shit here. And really what we did is we just gave the Taliban, who are, you know, they're now the party that run. People want to call them terrorists. They probably, you know, they're terrorists or whatever, but they run the country. That's the government. We just gave their government fucking $2 trillion worth of shit, weapons and all kinds of shit. So that's what we spent our fucking tax money on. It's stupid.
Yep.
So anyway, that's global news. Let's move on to something a little bit lighter. I want to get to domestic news, but let's just start with this. Sports. Sports, Albert. Can you give me a sports jingle? Sports. So, in sports news, the Washington Redskins are finally renaming their team this year. They've been talking about this shit forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And they're finally renaming it. And on EA Sports, the gaming, you know what I mean, the video game, they've taken the name Washington Redskins out, apparently, for the new one. And it's just called Washington. And there's, like, different names that you can choose from. So they haven't decided on which name they're going to choose yet. But, yeah, I just thought this was an interesting story. It's about goddamn time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so, too. I mean, if you know the history of America, you know, like, that's not a pleasant experience.
No. Yeah.
And to just blatantly call some fucking stupid-ass football team the name because someone thought it sounded good. That's horseshit.
And I don't know what you think about Indians. I find Indians to be still kind of fucked up.
Or, Native Americans. Right?
Native Americans is better, right? But Redskins is just fucked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That would be like if they called them black skins or what, you know what I mean? Or yellow skins or whatever. Like, how has that been a thing for so long? You know what I mean?
Well, I grew up hearing the word Indian all the time. I never heard anyone call them red. I mean, I heard of the term, but I never heard anyone. I never was around someone that called them by that. Which it sounds like a racist.
Oh, it is from a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, in fucking what was it? Peter Pan. You know what I mean? I think they called him that. But
yeah,
whatever. So that's been some sports news for the day. That's pretty cool. Let's get into domestic news. In domestic news, have you seen what's going on with fucking Delta variant and COVID and shit? Dude, Florida is fucked. Some of these southern states with these Republican governors are fucked.
Yeah.
And remember, this is the summer. So everybody, he's climbing on my bookshelves again. So everybody is, like, remember, they're like, oh, it's going to be better in the summer. It's going to be worse in the winter because everybody's indoors or whatever, right?
Right.
So if the fucking ICUs and hospitals are full right now in the summer, what the fuck do you think's going to happen in the winter?
Yeah.
And I want to applaud all those people who are seeing this shit and going and getting, hey, get down. I swear to God. So they're seeing the data, you know what I mean? And I know a lot of people were very vaccine hesitant. You were vaccine hesitant, but I want to applaud the people who are actually going out now and finally getting vaccinated, you know? A friend of our show that we're going to go on his show next month, Koo, is getting the vaccine. Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
And remember, he said, I think on our show when we interviewed him, he's like, no, I'm not going to get it. You know what I mean? And, but he's getting it. I don't know which one he's getting or whatever, but I do think I think that's good. You know what I mean? That people are listening to actual medical studies, seeing what's happening in these hospitals. Even here in Houston, you know, the hospitals are filling up. Kids are in there. Young kids.
Yeah.
And because I remember last week we were talking about people who want to like do their own research on all this shit, right? And you and I had a discussion about that, and I just think, no, listen to what the fucking doctors, right, say.
Well, all I'm saying is how do regular people know who is the doctor to listen to?
So that's the thing. So here's for instance, right? Rand Paul is one of the Republicans that you always see in Congress giving Dr. Fauci shit about the virus, right? And all that shit, right? He's an eye doctor. Okay? If I have something wrong with my eyes, I'll listen to an eye doctor, right? If I want to know about a virus, I'm not going to want to know what the fucking eye doctor says or a foot doctor or any of that shit. Why would I? You understand? I want to know what virologists do. People who study viruses say. Right? Doesn't this make sense?
Well, I feel like I've seen people on the internet who claim to be that and say don't get it. Like, I can see how people are confused.
No, but this is what we talked about last. I can see how they get confused, but this is what we talked about last week because Joe Rogan said that shit, remember? And then the very doctor that he was talking about said, "No, don't fucking twist my words. People need to go get the vaccine. These two studies are not the same." You know what I mean? So yeah. And look, what I'm just trying to say is the whole idea of doing your own research leads to bad things. Do you know who Brett Weinstein is? He's on Joe Rogan a lot.
No. If I saw a photo of him, I might know who he is.
He has like a channel called like Dark Horse or some shit, if you've ever heard of that.
Oh, I think I know. He's that young guy, right?
No, he's not young. No.
Oh. Okay.
And he has a doctorate. I don't know what the fuck he has a doctorate in. I think philosophy maybe or some shit. So he's technically a doctor. I don't know what the fuck it's in. But anyway, there was this guy recently who died from COVID, and on his Facebook page, he was posting a bunch of that Brett Weinstein guy's shit right before he died from COVID. And he wouldn't get the vaccine. He was like, I'm going to let my immune system beat this. You know what I mean? He died. Yeah. He died. And I'm just saying, that's what happened. If you start to think that you can do that own research, that guy who died apparently had a college degree. He wasn't an idiot.
Well, the thing is, people are listening to Dr. Fauci, dude. They're hearing the truth. They're just choosing to not believe it. The idea behind doing research in my head, and we're probably looking at it very differently, is it has nothing to do with listening to whoever is right. It's about diving a deep enough to where you finally make a conclusion based on both sides.
Yeah, but
people are hearing both sides.
And look,
they're just choosing to ignore it.
Right. And here's the deal: you and I, everybody has to make their own conclusion. That I'm okay with, right? But on how, and it's not that I'm okay with. I just accept that everybody has to do that. You have to make your own conclusion. You're responsible for yourself and your kids if you have them, right? Now, I just want people to listen to the evidence, right? The overwhelming evidence, the data, right? Versus fringe people. You know what I mean by fringe, right? Like the outlying people who say, oh, COVID this and COVID that, right? Because it's like global warming or any of that shit, right? You can find
then we should have links.
Right, but you can find some guy out there who says global warming is bullshit, right? And he's but hear me out. Let me finish this. He's a doctor, right? And he said that, right? So people go, "Oh, that's a doctor that said that," right? But the whole scientific community is lining up on one side of this, right? And so you got like 100 to 1 or 1,000 to 1, right? If you just want to listen to that one because it fits like what you believe in, that's what is called that's what's called the Dunning-Kruger effect or cognitive dissonance, right? Because you're listening to whatever fits your narrative.
But that's just humans, though.
Yes, but it doesn't have to be. Because I can think something and have my mind changed by looking at data.
Yeah, you can because you're that type of person, but most people can't. And also, I think that if we're going to be saying this, we need to just have links. Because if I'm watching the show and I don't believe in vaccines and you're persuading me, I'm not going to know where to fucking look.
Well, but you don't do any of the production, and I'm not putting I'm not putting that shit up.
Okay.
So if somebody,
And I'm not gonna do it. Right.
and you're not gonna
And
do it,
that's
but if somebody wants to come help me put links,
that's why I'm gonna tell people to go do their own research.
no,
We're
but
not gonna tell them what to do.
but don't do your own research. Listen to what the medical community says, right? So like,
but that's big, dude. Like what specific part?
So what about
who?
this?
What specific doctor?
So what about what about the CDC, the NHI,
Okay.
right? The NHI or NIH or whatever. I think it's NIH. The CDC, the NIH. These motherfuckers, right? Those are communities. Like Kaiser Permanente. I've referenced that study. I think, if not here, I did it on Instagram or whatever. But that they just did that study about the Delta variant, right, and hospitalization. That's a massive hospital chain, healthcare chain, right? With thousands of and tens of thousands of doctors and shit, right? And patients. Listen to what they say. Not one motherfucker, right? Yeah. I'm just saying, listen to these massive organizations, right? So, right. I mean, and people are starting to see that even if they were hesitant, that it's dangerous to not get this vaccine. In Florida right now, I'm going to pull this article up. I don't know if you saw this. This just came out today, I think. They have 10,000 students on quarantine right now. And 1,000 students just tested positive.
School is back in session.
For, let's see, 10,000 students in Florida school district. In one school district have been quarantined. Just 1 week, Albert, into the school year. They've only been in school for 1 week, and they just had to quarantine 10,000 in this district. And in that district, 1,000 students have, 1,805, almost 2,000, have tested positive.
And, I can't help but, we're talking about this. People like my mom. And we've talked about this. My mom's an avid church person.
Yeah.
And there's been times, dude, where I've asked her, did you see something on the news? You watch the news? My mom goes, oh, I don't really watch the news that much. And I know it's because her preacher is telling her and everyone in that room not to watch the fucking news. And this is what I'm saying, bro. Like, that it's fucked up there, man.
But think about that, dude. So this is in Florida, where Death Santis, right? Governor Death Santis over there has been saying that if these schools want to defy his order that they can't have masks, that he is going to defund the schools if they wear masks. Yeah. Right? And the schools defied his order, right? And said, no, we're going to have mask mandates. And then Biden came out and said, hey, we're going to give you guys federal money so you don't have to worry about this prick, right, defunding you. And then what happens? 1 fucking week into school, almost 2,000 kids in one district have COVID. And 10,000 have to be quarantined. I mean, and that's just Florida. In Alabama, yesterday, I believe it was, the entire state, I'm going to pull this article up, the entire state had negative hospital beds in ICU.
Yeah.
So if you get into a car accident, right?
New data
and you're dying,
shows that
right?
A continued strain is being
and they don't have room for you because every fucking hospital bed, right, has COVID people in it. If you have a heart attack because you're old, or cancer, or whatever the fuck is going on with you, they can't treat your ass because you got COVID. And here's the deal. We know from the data that if you just take the fucking vaccine, right, your chances of having to be hospitalized are basically nothing. So those people are so selfish, they're taking up these hospital beds from people who are in accidents and shit, right?
Yeah. It's fucked up, man.
Today in Alabama has negative ICU beds.
And you know how they feel about how Alabama loves the fuck out of Trump, and they're pissed the fuck off. They have to wear a fucking mask, and crying about that shit. And
oh yeah. Well, let's get into some of
all
that.
they fucking do is whine and whine, man.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about that, man. Actually, for a second. Well, actually, we got a question from Via. Via asked if Old Wheels, speaking about Governor Abbott, about his COVID diagnosis. So for all of y'all out there who aren't from Texas, Governor Abbott, if you don't know, he got COVID-19. Now, he's been also a bitch in saying that, we shouldn't have mask mandates in our schools here in Texas and all that, and he wants everything to be open and whatever. And his ass got COVID. He tested positive for it a day after being at this big function, maskless function, by the way. So he probably gave COVID to a whole bunch of people. And here's the deal. His ass has not only had the vaccines, right, both rounds, he also has had the booster already, and he's getting experimental drugs for antibody treatment that nobody else is going to get, by the way. Unless you're like a governor or a president or some fancy pants rich person, you're not going to get any of that shit. You know what I mean? And yet he's mad about teachers wanting to wear their kids to wear masks so they don't get sick. And Ted Cruz is the same piece of shit, same way.
Because all they fucking care about is their fucking votes.
But I'm going to play this video. I don't know if you saw this, because you were talking about these crazy Trump people and masks, and this went viral over the weekend. Let me pull this up. So
there's so many videos of these fuckers having milk.
Have you seen?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
You seen this guy? So yeah, let me play this. So this guy's on, like, I don't remember where this is. I think it's, oh yeah, New York City, on the subway, harassing some elderly lady, like in her 50s or 60s or whatever.
17, 17.
Drunk as fuck, asshole, loser, motherfucker.
No, look, he's disrespecting an elderly.
And he's threatening people.
I respect freedom.
Because
What do you respect?
Like any good Trump supporter, he's an angry, violent motherfucker.
Sit down.
They're all the fucking same, man. All of them want to go and whoop everybody's ass.
And it makes me look. How come? And that's what when we were talking about the Proud Boys. If you remember, we were like, how come these motherfuckers can't get drunk and just be like us and have some fun? How come they got to go out there and fucking, hate on little immigrants and people? They're so fucked in the head.
They are. They think they get drunk and they think this is my land. I'm gonna go and fix it while they're drunk. Let's go and fix it. You're not gonna fix anything, you fucking dumbass. You're a fucking loser, drunk, angry motherfucker. You can't fix shit.
Yeah, they're so fucking stupid. That guy, now his face is all over the internet. Everybody's gonna know who the fuck he is. You know what I mean?
He fucked himself.
He fucked himself. And this happens every goddamn week now. How did you do
It does.
This dog just broke my chair. Let's see. What else we got to talk about with domestic news? I'm going to save this for next week. Let me put a star next to it. Put a pin in that, because this is some crazy shit too. But I don't want to do too much domestic news. I want to move on to some other things. I'm going to read some comments real quick before we move on to the next topic. Let's see what we got here. By the way, via Wimbley Diddly Do is a great screen name. Oh, it's mostly just more Clark shit about you talking about living out of your car. And he doesn't live in his car. You know he lives with his grandpa. You stalk him. Or whatever, so. Come on, Clark. Do your research. All right. Let's see here. What's the next topic? Oh, I have some more fun, lighthearted stuff because everything was so shitty, as always in the news. I want to move on to entertainment news. So, I have a jingle for that. I'm gonna go ahead and play that real quick because I made this and it's fun. Let's. That might take a minute. Let me see if I got it pulled up. Do I have that? Oh yeah, I do. Here we go. Albert, you can't hear. Just dance, like pantomime with me. There you go. All right. So we're moving on to entertainment news. This week in entertainment news, one of my least favorite motherfuckers may be getting to go to jail soon because he's a dumbass. So have you heard about the Jake Paul thing?
Yeah.
So this has been in the news for a while, but it's interesting. So he's facing up to, I think, 12 months in jail for like trespassing, and let me pull the article up and see what it's all for. So apparently during the George Floyd protest, right?
Yeah.
He went to a mall where they were looting the fuck out of this mall, right? And he was there filming it and, you know, allegedly partaking in that looting as well. Apparently documented he did take some liquor or something. I don't know. I've seen that. I don't know. Allegedly. Anyway, let me pull this up so people can see it. But yeah, this is, who is this? Is this TMZ? Who wrote this article? Oh, I don't know who this is. SB Nation. But anyway, yeah, Jake Paul facing possible jail time after city refiles its charges in Arizona mall riot. So I don't know what he was doing. He doesn't live in Arizona, right? He lives in California, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, apparently he was having like a house party, and the FBI was looking into these charges, right? And they came to his house and they found a fuckload of guns, right? But apparently they started to like investigate all that shit, and I guess they were legal. None of the guns were illegal or stolen or whatever, so they dropped those charges, right?
Right.
So the city, the District of Arizona or whatever, come here. I can hear you tearing some shit up over there. Come over here. Come here. Pugsley. Yeah, you're a little monster. Apparently the city of Scottsdale, was, they've reopened these charges since the federal charges have been dropped, right? And apparently there's like lots of video evidence of him in this mall. I've seen a little bit of him being there.
Yeah, I've seen it before.
And hundreds of people have testified to say that he was there. So we'll see what the fuck happens. I mean, he's got loads. He's got loads of money.
Yeah, he's gonna write a check off, and he'll be done.
He may go to jail and then get the fuck right out. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't have any faith that he's actually going to spend time in jail. But it's really funny what his defense is. His defense is, I was there to protest, you know, like Black Lives Matter and George Floyd and shit, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I did that too, but I didn't end up going into a mall where people were looting and shit.
Oh no, he was definitely in there to like film and do some viral shit. That's what he was trying to do.
For sure. That's 100%. Now, he might have not taken part in any of that, right? At all.
Yeah.
Right? He may not have stolen or done any of that shit, but he was definitely there to catch all that shit on film, right?
And I could believe that he stole some liquor because he's a prankster. He's stupid too. He's a crazy guy. I know that people are gonna say he's smart because he made a lot of money through YouTube. That doesn't mean shit. You know, I mean, you could still be a fucking idiot. I was having this conversation with Grady and Victor about comedians, and a lot of comedians will run to their defense when they do something shitty.
Yeah.
And it's like you gotta understand, guys, like, just because you're good at comedy doesn't mean you still can't be a fucking moron.
Of course. Of course. Yeah. And then like, it's just like when I see these guys like him and his brother who are fucking idiots, right?
Right.
And I'm like, look, I'm dumb too, but I'm a little bit smarter than that. If they can do it, fuck, Albert and I can do it. You know what I mean? Jesus.
Yeah. No, so many people think, oh no, they're rich and successful, so let's back them up. It's like, that's the total opposite of you. You don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, anyway, so we'll see what happens. I'm with you. I feel like he's not going to get any time for that. Moving on to the next entertainment news story. My question to you might have heard about, we've been talking on the show about Britney Spears and her conservatorship that her father has had over her, right? For the last, I think 9 years. Or 2013, I guess 8 years. So he is stepping down as her conservator or whatever it's called. My question for you is Britney actually free now?
You know what? Maybe. I hope so, for her sake. But I think Britney, like a lot of these pop stars, whenever you see their documentaries or they go into their family life, the family's all fucked up. The dad, the mom just trying to con the kid, and it's just another one of those fucking stories. But of course, I always think about it like this. People are like, oh, they go straight to Britney's defense. Remember, Britney went along with all this and was eking it up, growing up, collecting all the fame and fortune, never said shit about her dad, never said shit about anything. And then when she's old as fuck, now she wants to get back at her dad. It's like, you know what? We as a public could have helped you do that a long time ago, but you didn't do it because you thought you were winning at the time. When she starts to feel like she's losing, all of a sudden her dad's a fucking asshole.
That's kind of a hot take. I will say this. I want to err on her side, right? Because I do, from what I've understood, her family has been exploiting her, right? And her name and who she is to make money off of her, right?
Which she's known her whole life.
Right, but because of that, I want to say that they're all douchebags, right? Just because of that, right? Now,
right.
Do they love her still? Do they still care about her mental health? I mean, I don't know. I mean, she does seem like she has issues. A lot of people, a lot of us have issues, right? We have a horrible mental health crisis
my
in this
parents
country.
don't really care too much about my fucking mental health, and I've never made $1 million for them.
Right. Well, I will say this. Even if her dad steps down, when I was reading about this, it doesn't mean that she's free. Apparently, there's still a whole process of they could just appoint somebody else to look after her. I mean, it does not absolve her from the conservatorship. She just basically gets another handler. Like, she has to be cleared of all of this by a judge, and him stepping down is apparently not enough, from what I understand.
Well, her dad just sounds like a fucking piece of shit, and it sucks. Sucks when your parents are pieces of shit. It not much you can do about who your parents are, unfortunately.
There's not much. Yeah, and that's the fucking facts, So anyway, this is what I read. I was reading this article. If y'all guys want to check it out, it's on. It was Woman and Home, which I've now subscribed to. But yeah, apparently, their consensus, which at least the way they argued it, is that she's still going to have a long legal battle to be able to look after herself as an adult and her own finances. So the Free Britney campaign goes on. Also in entertainment news, we got a couple more things to talk about. Have you heard about the Scarlett Johansson shit?
Suing Disney?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you know about any of that story, or you want to talk? What do you think?
It was
So she had that movie. She had that movie that just came out with them, Black Widow, which is where it all stems from.
Right, and I guess they lied to her about, in her contract, it said she was going to make something about how the fact that it went to streaming services fucked up her money, and she didn't know it was going to do that.
Right. So she was basically given a deal. God damn, he's knocking over my lights and shit. Come on, bro. Hey. The issue is that I tried to put him into a kennel, and he's not been kennel trained, so he just freaked out. Oh, shit. Give me 1 second, Albert. I gotta fix my lights. He just knocked it all over. Alright. So, here, take this. Eat this thing. Eat that. so she had a deal set up for when it went to the box office, when it went to theaters, right? She would get so much percent of the box office sales, right? And obviously, there's a fucking pandemic. They didn't do that. It went to Disney Plus, right? And
Right.
she lost out on what her lawyers is claiming about $50 million because of that. Now, I'm kind of split on this. Yes, that was the contract, right?
Right.
And Disney, I think, should have negotiated with her when they made the decision to launch it on Disney Plus or whatever the fuck, right? Because yes, that's going to affect her money, obviously, right? But also, in my opinion, what were they supposed to do? It's a fucking pandemic. People can't go to the theaters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
I mean, I get her point, but what was
Right.
what would had they released it in the theaters, nobody would have gone. No theaters open. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No. I don't know.
She should be reimbursed. She should be reimbursed, I think, in some fashion.
I mean, yeah, I think so.
But
And I'm sure, you know, that they fucked her over, and she's pissed, and she's been making movies since she was a kid, and probably feels like she works hard and is, you know,
right,
carrying this movie, and wants what she feels like she deserves, and they should just give it to her. Man, you know, speaking of Disney being fuckheads, did you ever hear about that Quentin Tarantino story he told on Howard Stern about what happened with Disney when he was making The Hateful Eight, and he was going to have a premiere at a specific theater in LA? He had a contract with the theater, a contract.
Yeah.
That's the same year the Star Wars movie was coming out. I don't remember which one it was that year. It was one of those, you know, some Star Wars movie was coming out this year. Disney calls the theater and goes, "We want to premiere the movie on that day." And they tell the movie theater tells Disney, "We can't. We have a contract with Quentin."
Right.
Disney says, if you go ahead and do that contract, we're not going to let you have our movie at all. You can't show your movie at your theater. Star Wars will not be played at your theater.
Oh.
And they basically tell Quentin, "We got a gun to our head. We can't honor your contract anymore."
Well, and that's where I was going to come to with this, is because as much money as they make, right?
Oh yeah. They're making so much money.
They should be able to settle this with her. Now, if she goes, "I would have made $50 million had this gone to box office," right?
Right.
That's probably true, because if you looked at any of the other movies, right, that they did, right? Now, we have to also realize there's a pandemic going on, right? And that wasn't possible, right? So why now Disney has been attacking her and counter, I guess, suing or arguing or whatever, I'm not sure. But why don't they just meet in the middle and go, "Okay, well, here's an extra fucking $25-30 million, right? They got plenty of money, right?"
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, they could just give her the whole $50 million if they want. They're not hurting. You know what I mean?
For sure. No, man.
But it's just like the logical part of my brain is like, obviously your movie wasn't going to do that because of the pandemic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean,
if you and I got a movie deal, right, with Disney tomorrow, and they were like, "We love Booze and News," right? And we're like, "Fuck, hell yeah, let's sign these contracts." You know what I mean? Let's make this money, right? And then and then the next day,
I'm just imagining us all drunk for some reason, all fucked up.
We'd probably sign our lives away because we're stupid. But we'd give away your child and everything else. But you know, we filmed the movie and it's supposed to come out and we're supposed to get paid, and then a fucking, you know, a tsunami hits California or whatever, and then everything gets fucked up, and they're like, "Well, obviously we're not going to make that money." That's no different a natural disaster, any kind of cataclysm, I forget the name of that, where they call it like an act of God, right, or whatever. That's gonna fuck up everything, and
But remember, that's the scenario is different because in the Scarlet scenario, she's been making movies since she was a kid. She don't give a fuck about none of this. She wants her money.
But that's where my argument comes in, is that her contract was based around her movie going to theaters, right? It didn't get to go to theaters. Look, shit happens. As we know. How many comedy shows did we get to do this past year?
But
my whole life, I lost. Look. Here's the thing, though. Just because she's a famous celebrity and an actress or whatever doesn't mean that she hasn't had to experience what every real American has had to experience this year. A lot
I don't understand.
Let me finish.
Been playing movies in theaters.
But Albert, no, they haven't. Let me finish my statement, and then we'll get into that. How many Americans didn't get to go to their job, lost their jobs, right? Lost their money, right? Because of the fucking pandemic, right? So I understand, but she's not special because she's a fucking celebrity. People have been affected by the pandemic, right? She got affected by the pandemic. Now, did other movies go to theaters? Yes and no. A lot of movies didn't. A lot of movies ended up going straight to streaming, right? Like that Bill and Ted movie right?
Well, I'm confused because I've seen movies go to streaming and theaters simultaneously.
When Bill and Ted came out last year, in the middle, and this was in the summer, right? Or April, or I don't remember what this was, but it was after they started shutting everything down, right? I couldn't go watch that movie in a theater. If I wanted,
no, bro, but there have been movies now that have been doing both.
Yes, but this was a while back. Her movie was supposed to come out a while back, and instead they did it on.
Do we even know if it was played in theaters at all? Because I thought it was. It was both in theaters.
I think it was, but I think it was pushed back. Right? They pushed it back. Because of the pandemic, right? And eventually they launched it with the streaming, right? At the end of the day, I just think this, and people can say, "Oh, how dare you talk about poor millionaires?" I don't give a fuck about millionaires. And two, you know what? I do believe that she works just as hard as every other actor and actress in Hollywood. She deserves to get paid, and that's why Disney should compromise with her. They have plenty of money, but you have to realize there's a fucking pandemic going on. Doesn't that make sense? Shit's gonna get fucked up, right? And if your contract was based around specifically like hers was about box office, right? Then you got fucked. I mean, it's a gamble.
Well, all I'm going to say is this. Think about it like this, because this is how I'm thinking about it. The fact that she is suing Disney, in my opinion, as an actress,
Disney, yeah.
No, but yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying, the fact that she's actually suing Disney, which I can't remember the last time I heard of an actor suing a huge movie production company. Oh, no. I can't remember the last time someone's done that. No, so to me,
it happens.
That's an actor's worst nightmare. The fact that she's doing it says to me,
maybe
not you, but to me, they fucked her over, and maybe we don't know the whole story. That's what I think.
No, we do know the whole story. I think we do know the whole story. Now they're alleging. Now, from what I've read, people are starting to allege that it's a sexist thing, and I just don't think that's what it is. I believe it's strictly the pandemic, right?
It's a big thing for her to do that. The actresses do not want to do that. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know.
The fact that she's doing this says something to me.
Well, I don't know. Anyway,
she can get blacklisted for this, dude. She could.
She's not gonna get blacklisted. She may never play that role again. She may never be the Black Widow again, which is a big deal. But here's the thing, man. And you're right. She could get blacklisted, I guess, because we don't understand. You and I do not understand how the politics of Hollywood works, right? But I will say this: it is logical. It definitely, regardless. Let's take our emotions out of it, right? We understand that because of the pandemic, we weren't able to do regular shit that we were able to do, right? We weren't able to go to the movie theater. We weren't able to go eat. How many restaurants fucking closed, Albert? How many bars? How many theaters? How many other actors who worked in small theaters, right? who had productions, right, lined
Yeah.
up, weren't able to get paid because they didn't do the shows. Smaller people. I mean, like I said, at some point at the end of the day, I'm not worried about millionaires bullshit, right?
Well, I'm not worried about him either. I'm just trying to just say what I think happened. I don't give a fuck about Scarlett Johansson. Or Disney. I'm just saying
But
that's not something that happens a lot. The fact that it's happening is weird.
I agree with you. It is weird, and I do think that they should somehow settle with her because she got fucked over, right? And they have plenty of money to appease her, right? And do the right thing. But however, I mean, it was totally a fluke. They didn't purposefully fuck her over. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. They didn't do it on purpose. It was the fucking pandemic. You know what I mean? And had there not been a pandemic, guess what? Her movie would have gone to box office. She would have gotten all the money that she wanted. You know what I mean? That's what I think. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I just, like I said, all I know is that it's not normal for a big actor to do a big, bold move like that.
But what's normal anymore, dude? We've had a fucking crazy-ass year and a half.
I mean, yeah, but Hollywood is a controlled system. It's like the goddamn mafia.
Yeah, but people weren't going to sets. You know Ricky Gervais?
Yeah.
He didn't step on a set for over a year. He had all these contracts and shit he was supposed to do. He didn't do any of it because he wanted everybody to be vaccinated. You know what I mean? He waited.
Right.
And that's going to cost the studio hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars.
Well,
you know what I mean?
That's a different scenario. Think about this. Scarlett made the movie. She did the work. And now she wants her money, and they're not giving it to her. So it's a different story there.
Well, it is, but also her contract hinged around how much money it made at box office, right? Now, here's here's the deal, Albert. What if her movie was? I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know. And this is just me postulating, right? What if her movie was bad and everyone gave it bad reviews? Now, I don't think it is. I think her movie's fine, but that also could have negatively affected how much money she made. You know what I mean? See, that was it was always a gamble. It was always a gamble because her contract said, "I make so much off of how well this movie does," right?
Well, if it's in the contract like you're saying, I don't see why she'd be suing.
It's because of the streaming thing. That's why she's suing. Because she's saying because of the streaming, people didn't go to the box office. And I do think that that's probably something that they did not negotiate, and they should compromise. They should have some kind of compromise to pay her out about that.
I think she's gonna. My guess is she's gonna win. That's what I'm thinking is gonna happen.
I hope so. I hope she does because fuck Disney. They got billions of dollars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares? But I'm just saying it just sounds realistic that. I mean, it's a pandemic, dude. The place that I work for, we just planned a whole season of theater. You know this, right? So we had all these plays lined up that we were just about to announce and launch. And guess what? Because Houston has a problem with COVID because our governor's stupid as hell, right? And we haven't been enforcing mask mandates and vaccines or any of that shit, right?
Right, but Jonathan.
But now our whole season is canceled. So we're talking about
worked, bro. She already worked. She wants her money. This has nothing to do with what you're saying. This is a bitch that did her job. You know how that feels. You did your job. Where's my money, right?
But her money wasn't. But Albert, her money wasn't guaranteed. There was nothing in there. That $50 million that she's talking about was never a guarantee. She's just saying, compared to the way other Marvel movies have done, right?
Yeah.
You feel me? The way that other Marvel movies have went, she should have made about that much money, right? See, it's not the same. Yes, she should get paid, but she based her contract off of box office sales.
Then why does she feel like she has a right to sue?
Because she's saying that the streaming service undercut the box office sales. And you know what? It did.
Then there she go. Then she'll sue him.
But the question is, how much? And that's what lawyers are for, and that's what you go to court for, and that's what they're going to settle on, right?
Yeah.
For sure. And I'm okay with that. And like I said, she deserves something. But to completely deny that the pandemic wasn't a thing, right?
She's not denying. She's not denying it's a thing, bro. Like I said, she worked. She did the job. She did the job during the pandemic.
Okay.
She wants her money.
Okay. Well, whatever, dude.
You're right, but she did the job.
You know what, Albert? There was somebody who was in charge of the Olympics this year, who was all about selling food to people at the Olympics, right? There was somebody at the Olympics in Japan who was in charge of all those food booths, right?
Yeah.
And then what do they say? We're not going to have any fans at the Olympics, right? That person made zero money. And you know what? That's just sometimes the fucking tough breaks. Because it's a fucking pandemic. Nobody planned this shit. It happens.
But he didn't go to work.
He did go to work. He spent, that doesn't just happen. You have to plan that out, Albert. You have to fucking plan tons and tons of hours and work. He probably worked on that for years. And you know how much money he probably made off that? Jack shit. But
people don't pay people. People don't pay people for planning. They pay for when they were selling the goddamn food.
But planning is part of his job that he did. You've never had that job, so you don't know. But I know, because as somebody who has done big events or whatever, that's part of the job, right? And if it gets canceled, it gets canceled. And you know what you make? Nothing.
It's part of those risks of having jobs like that.
And that's what I'm just trying to say. If you're going to put all of your money into it going to theaters and making money, that's part of the risk. Isn't that?
Hey, you know what? You're right. All I know is that I seriously doubt Scarlett Johansson's an idiot and would get a lawyer if she didn't think if she deserves some fucking money.
I'm not saying she's an idiot. I'm just saying that's from what I understand what the case is. We're going to leave with a light study, and because I want to get to some science before we go. So there is a new word, Albert. We're going to learn a new word today.
Ah, shit. I can barely remember the words I know now.
So scientists have a new word for birds that steal animal hair.
Okay.
So here in this picture, we have a Texas crested titmouse who was caught on video in Texas plucking hair from a sleeping fox. Wasn't even dead, just a sleeping fox, to build a nest. And scientists now have a name for this brazen behavior. Kleptotricky. So there you go. That's the new word of the day. If you ever steal hair from an animal, it's called kleptotricky.
That's hilarious.
So thank you guys for watching Booze and News. And we hope you enjoyed the show. Pugsley, want to say bye to everybody? Come here. So we'll be back next week. We do this show every week on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And it's called the Happy Half Hour. Please subscribe if you like it. Ask us questions. Send us DMs.